Welcome to Drinks Coach. A lot of my friends, a lot of followers of this channel have been waiting for this one. Yes, Mike, I'm finally doing some Greece wines. Vinesack, all lowercase. Contact me on any social media or on the lowercase Drinks Coach UK if you want to talk about things specific to this channel. On the pull down will be information about these wines. Most of these wines very generously donated by my friend Irina Nemeth, who is export manager for Cava Spiliadis, who bring in premium and super premium Greek wines. This is by no way a perfect representation of what Greece does. So a part of my job today is to tell you what's missing, and we'll do those wines in Greek part 2. You get me? So this is a start. These wines are very special. I've been very excited about trying them. And it gives us a start on telling you a bit about the rather complex but rather wonderful world of Greek wines. So, where are we going to start? Well, my lovely wife has painted another one of her lovely pictures. Look at that. Good, eh? So we're going to use this map to navigate Greece. Greece is basically the mainland there, and then the Aegean Islands down here, and the many other peripheral islands which are very important. Crete, of course, Greek Cyprus, the bottom half that is, which is where most of the vineyards are, to be fair. You've also got the island of Samos, where they've been making muscat for many, many centuries. There's Limnos up there, Kefalonia, where the book Captain Corelli's Mandolin was set, and has a beautiful little marina called Fiscardo, which is like the Porta Banús of the islands of Greece. I think Arnie, get down, the bridge is out. Schwarzenegger has his super yacht moored up there most of the time. Also, this is the Pelepones, which is a peninsula still sort of connected to the mainland. And there's a lot of wine shenanigans going on there. We've got Patra at the top, where a wonderful and inexpensive red wine, which is a really good cheap alternative, especially if you're cooking with it, although it's better than that, with ruby port, and it's called Mavra Daphne of Patras. If you go to Waitrose, I think they're selling one still for under £7 retail. It's 15% alcohol. It's great for deglazing and cooking wonderful rich gravies and stews and stuff in winter. Also, Nemeth here is very famous for what has been one of the most important red grape varieties in Greece since time immemorial. A grape variety called Ayorgitiko, and Ayorgitiko means St. George, which is appropriate, isn't it? Because our patron saint never came to England, couldn't speak English, was Armenian, lived in Greece, decided to die in Malta, killing a dragon, apparently. So, yes, more Greek than English, I think. So this is where Ayorgitiko is grown, which is a grape variety which almost by itself covers off a lot of the wonderful nuances of the whole gamut of varieties you get in the Rhone in the south of France. It tastes like Grenache with a bit of Mavra Daphne, sorry, not Mavra Daphne, a bit of Mourvedre and a bit of Syrah thrown in, and can be quite delicious and very special. We've got a wine here, which is from Mantegna, which is called a Blanc de Gris, made from a grape variety which again goes back many, many hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, called Moschofilero, a heady, muscaty, slightly pink-tinged variety which effectively makes white wines. We've also got this island here, one of the most beautiful islands and one of the most desirable sort of wedding honeymoon destinations on Earth now, which is, of course, the volcanic island of Santorini, which is just one huge piece of lava rock. And because it's grown on lava, the grape varieties, specifically the white variety of Assyrtiko, excels. Anybody with a man bun and some tattoos and some skinny jeans these days only likes to drink wine that comes off a volcano. So if you're buying wine from Mount Etna, in Sicily, if you're buying wine from Vesuvius around Naples, or buying indeed wines from Santorini, you'll be in love with these wines. And in fact, there's a lot of volcanic activity around the Greek area, so a lot of the wines share those sort of flavours because of the subsoils. Okay, that's pretty much me covered as a starter. But the varieties that we haven't really covered, apart from Ayorgitiko, would be Savatiano. Savatiano is very, very important because it's the variety which the vast majority of Retsina is made from. Now, Retsina, for those who don't know, we will do one on the next wine show, the next Greek show. And it's a grape variety which has been recognised now and established and works very well in this context. But back in the day, they didn't know the difference between one variety and another. The science just wasn't there 1,000 years ago. But Savatiano, sometimes mixed in with a bit of Assyrtiko, Greek's premium white variety, and a bit of Rhoditis, another variety which is highly prized for its ability to hold on to acidity, makes a wine which they then used to put into big clay amphorae and seal down with resin. And the resin of the Aleppo fir tree, Aleppo pine tree resin, was particularly fragrant, but also killed the bugs going in and out. It was almost like pine disinfectant being added to the seal of the amphora. So the wine took on some of this very piney flavour. I'm imagine in the old days when sterility was very hard to understand and you didn't have stainless steel and so forth, they used quite a lot of pine resin, and the wines were probably quite punchy and quite piney. But now it's there for flavour, and there are producers like Akaya Klaus who make very, very good Retsina, which does very much go with the food of the area. Things like Scordalia, which is this punchy, very garlicky, mayonnaise-y potato salad. All that punch needs something with a bit of kick to go with it. And actually, Retsina and Scordalia with some Dolmades vine leaves, it's no coincidence they all go together. Right, let's try some wines. We're now going to go back to the little island of Kefalonia, again, which I mentioned before, famous book by Bertrand de la Rosière, which won the Nobel Prize for Literature with that, in fact. And this is a wine that's done very well in a competition in this country. And this is from Petrakopoulos. And Petrakopoulos, I think, is one of the few very premium producers of wine on the island of Kefalonia, on the very, very steep, almost mountainous cliff edges around the sort of north-south, sort of south-east bit of the island. And the variety they grow there is called Robola, Robola. And for many, many years, not least because actually they taste quite similar, Robola was always seen to be the same variety, but just pronounced differently, from a variety that was brought over by Venetian merchants. Of course, Venice is south of a place called Friuli, and in Friuli there's a variety called Robola Gialla. And Robola Gialla is a wine which has some lemoniness. It tastes very flinty and slaty. Oz Clarke, when he's writing about his modern new classics, always talking about how slaty and flinty he thinks Robola tastes, and I agree with him. But Robola, judged by the VIVC, who is the kind of last word on this matter, have established that this is actually a unique variety to Greece. It is not Robola Gialla, although they do share the similar characteristics of smelling like a floral lemon grove and having a nice steely palate, which is just a magic combination with the kind of fish you imagine that the fishermen are bringing in onto the island in Fiscado, of sardines, snapper, pelagic fish in general, those oily fishes. Brilliant with a wine like this. It's almost slightly piney. And I would say that Robola is kind of like the grown-up sophisticates kind of alternative to the slightly more rustic, most of the time, Retsina. Okay. Nose is just wonderful. It just smells like lemon meringue pie. It's lemon curd on the nose. And it has a damp, cold, granite flavour. Not granite, flint. It tastes of flint. It leaves a hole in your mouth. When you drink this wine on its own, you're like, but where's the food that goes in the middle? A bit of rich proteinous octopus would be fantastic with that. But I'm still thinking sardines on the barbecue. Ooh. The price will be in the pull down below. But Cava, Spiliadis, don't muck about. These wines are premium examples of what they are, but I'll show the prices so you can buy them if you want to. This wine is not far away from Kefalonia. It's wine from Mantinea here in this area, the centre of the Pelepones, and this is the one made from a grape variety called Moschofilero. I don't know if you can see that. It's put in gold on the label. It's not always easy to see this. Yes, you can just see it written across the top of Blanc de Gris there. It says Moschfilero, which, as I said, is a pale rose colour. It actually smells a bit like a rose garden. I think that's a description people have used. It reminds me of the haunting, lychee, jasmine side of Gewürztraminer a little bit. It is related to Muscat too, which is a variety which has lots of spin-offs that smell a bit like this. If I didn't know better, if I'm in a wine competition or in a wine exam and someone's saying you have to identify this grape variety, I would start with Gewurz. But it's not as heady and over the top. There's something a bit more measured about it. It doesn't taste bone dry. There's just a little kiss of fruit sweetness in the wine, which balances it. It doesn't taste high in alcohol, which is nice. 13%. Gewurzes are often 14 plus. Oh, the Robola, by the way, is 12.5. Very, very manageable in a country that's so hot. And you can imagine white wine is a really prized thing there, because when you get to countries close to Lebanon, white wine and acidity don't often come together. So it's very, very nice to have these varieties down there because it just goes so well with the food. Wonderful, wonderful wines. And these are grape varieties which are father varieties. They've been making wine from these grape varieties for centuries, if not millennia. So when people say, what are they like? I say, well, you should try them because other things are like them, not the other way around. They're originals. And now that we have non-modern Greek labelling on these wines, a bit like when they took Cyrillic labelling off things like Macedonian wine, we actually can see what the wines are. And the very complicated names are slightly easier to pronounce. So, number 1, Robola. Number 2, Blanc de Gris Moschfilero from Mantinea. And the producer in this particular case is Thymiopoulos. Thymiopoulos. Which brings us on to their other wine, which is in this lineup. Here we go. So we're going around the coast of bottom Greece, around the Pelepones. We're going across the Aegeans, and we're in Santorini. Okay. Santorini, for those people who don't know, it's one of those places. I'm very jealous that I haven't been. I haven't visited many of the Greek islands, actually, but I really ought to do a tour. But they have one of the secret weapons of Greece there. They have one of the secret weapons, which is weaponized by the fact that the soil is just black ash. And this black ash soil, these vines are often planted in the shape of a basket with the grapes hanging inside. And this basket palisade, a basket trellising system, is to stop the wind from burning the grapes and from the dust from grinding into them. And there are, in fact, plots of Assyrtiko, this particular variety, on the island of Santorini, which have been proven to be 200 and 230 years old. It's not ideal to have vines that old. That's pretty bloody old. But the vines can age for a very, very long time, and some of the oldest vines known to man. So, here we are. We're at Tselepos again. Canava Chrissou. This is called Santorini Tselepos Assyrtiko, and it's got the lovely French words vieilles vignes. And I've just told you that some of the vines are very, very old. But when you see very old or vieilles vignes written on the label, you know there's going to be a super intensity to the flavour. They're going to be very, very concentrated. So let's have a crack at this. Assyrtiko, what's Assyrtiko like? Because many people out there won't have tried this. Those people that have tried it once come back for more. I don't know anyone who said, oh, I tried Assyrtiko once. They go, yes, I love Assyrtiko. It's one of those varieties. Should be in your armoury. Should be considered when you're choosing your wine for dinner, both in restaurants and at home. It's a variety which is a bit like Verdeco in Spain, which is a bit of a kind of fringe reference, I think. But it's like Sauvignon Blanc. If you like Pou Fumé, you like Sancerre, you will like Assyrtiko. But it has a body to it. It's almost like Sauvignon and Semillon, the two main varieties of Bordeaux, fused into one variety, like Brundlefly. Like it ages in oak beautifully. It's delicious without oak. It takes cold soaking and pre-fermentation soaking very well to make these wonderful aromatic, almost New Zealand style wines. But once it's aged past that fruity level, it gets wonderfully dried thyme and taste of like rich, juicy, basil-y, herby characters. It really is one of the greatest white grape varieties in Europe, if not the world. I'm serious about that. And to this date, it's still pretty hard to find a Assyrtiko that costs more than £30, and the majority of them are around 20 and a bit less. So before they get really stupid money, it's only a matter of time. There isn't much of it about. You should start drinking the stuff. This wine has spent a long time on lees. It smells like it may have spent at least a part of this blend has been barrel fermented in large wood, not new wood by smell. Deliciously, mouth-puckeringly, lime oil, green mango, tangy, leaves an almost lemon oil flavour in the background. Like if you get a piece of lemon out of your gin and tonic and just squeeze it at your mouth, you get that oil on your lips. That's how intense it tastes. There is an energy, almost like there's a battery in it. You can taste the volcano in this wine. I don't imagine this is cheap. This wine tastes quite expensive, but we shall see in the pull down. But I'm going to guess it's around 30 quid. But it's a very, very, very nice wine. Coming on to two very different wines. We've kind of explored the islands a little bit. We haven't tasted wine from Muscat of Samos. I'll try and find one next time. But they're like the sweet muscats of Europe. They're delicious, like Moscatel de Valencia or Baume de Venise or Muscat de Rivesaltes. It's in that sort of ilk, but a little bit warmer. And they make some extraordinarily good muscat there. And they also sell it as a dry muscat, which is quite delicious. We're now going to go up to the main island. The main land of Greece. What have we got here? Yes, we've got a wine which is coming from around Nausa, Amendion, around this area. We also, they're both from that area roughly. One's let's have a look. Yeah, actually from Kavala, not far away. Actually, where are we? No, I lost it. Anyway, but if you come into land in the most beautiful city, Thessaloniki, very, very, very cool cocktail bars. It's like Barcelona but Greek. Obviously, they've struggled a lot with finances, with the crash and everything, and I'm sure they've struggled even more with COVID, being that tourism is so vitally important to Greece. But Thessaloniki is absolutely one of my favourite cities in Europe and resorts. And just south, there's a pioneering producer called Katima Yerovasiliou, who grows a white variety called Malagousia, which is very important to the story of Greece as well. I'll try and get that too. I'll be filling in all these gaps next time. And also I want to try a few more reds, because we've only got one red here, and I bought it from the Wine Society. So we're going to try that in a minute. But if you go up towards the this is northern Macedonia, just north of northern Greece here. You've got the area of Tikvesh up here, Lake Orihid down here, which is an amazing freshwater lake. The wines from this region are extraordinary as well. They're incredibly hot climate. And you've got Albania and stuff around the side. But we're going to concentrate on the mountains in the north of Greece, where one or two very, very special varieties exist. The most important variety, which will come on last, is a red grape variety called Xinomavro. Xinomavro, I'll show you how it's spelled, nice and simple there. It's Xinomavro, which means black and bitter, funny enough. Although they seem to have tamed it rather, since that was first ascribed, I imagine. But first we're going to go to a wine which is all sorts of strange, but it's also a shout out to one of my favourite producers in Greece, which is the Tima Biblia Chora. Tima Biblia Chora is one of the great chateau estate in the whole of Greece, on the mainland going up towards Bulgaria and northern Macedonia. And this particular wine isn't a wine they're particularly famous for. I think it's been introduced fairly recently. Very exciting variety called Vidiano. Vidiano isn't a great variety from mainland Greece at all. In fact, it comes from Crete, and they've deposited it in the vineyards around where Biblia Chora is in Kavala, and it's taken like a duck to water. And they've made this super premium example. Just judging by the bottle, it feels like it's 40 quid, to be honest. But it's very, very sexily packaged. But they make a wine which has a massive great O on the front, which must be seen to be, if not actually the best white wine, most prestigious wine in Greece. It's certainly one of the great white variety of wines, and it's called Ovilos. And Ovilos is a mixture of the aforementioned Assyrtiko, this magic variety, and Semillon, one of the great white varieties of Bordeaux, which has an incredible propensity to age, and also fits very well with the Assyrtiko and the flavours because of its lemoniness. Partly barrel fermented, ages forever. I've drunk wines that are 15 or 16 years old from the estate, and they're absolutely incredible. It's like the white Bordeaux, the Grave of Greece. But this is Vidiano. Vidiano, not one to be Asian oak or fermented in oak, I don't think. This wine has spent what seems like a while on lees. So what they've done is they've made this in a stainless steel tank, carefully picked the grapes, crushed them under temperature control. The wine's probably spent 4 to 6 months in lees, I think. It's got a lovely green colour to it. Not what I expected at all. Gosh. Very, very minerally on the nose. Wonderful herbs. You know what? It smells like a mixture of kind of like parsley and a bit of spearmint and a bit of dried thyme. It smells like the area around where these vineyards are. Very, very Mediterranean, very dusty and arid. But at the same time, there's a lovely, cool, green fruit flavour underneath. I'm not sure quite what it is. Probably green gage, like green plum. Super delicate, tingling acidity, bouncing around the mouth. It has a presence and a slightly resinous, pithy characteristic, like the pith of an orange, without being oily. Very long. Wow, that's pretty sexy wine. So this is called Vidiano Sole. It has a smattering of Assyrtiko in there, I'm imagining, to help that acidity. Well, first time I've had that. My dear friend, Mr. Dima, if you're watching this, he's shown me some extraordinary Vidianos from Crete in the past, and he was importing a few. I'll try and get your name down on the pull down as well, mate. So this is the first mainland Vidiano I've tried. An absolutely stonking wine. Finding it difficult to think of a reference point. Almost like sounding like... It's like listening to Oasis for the first time. It tastes incredibly original. Okay, so... The gin flask is out. This is my Solcombe gin chalice, which is what I use for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, right? The other thing I use it for is a great variety from Italy called Nebbiolo. And Nebbiolo shares a lot of the textural components and shape of Pinot Noir. So I tend to use this for wines made from Nebbiolo. So what's made from Nebbiolo? Well, Barolo, king of reds in Italy, without a doubt in my opinion, and Barbaresco. But wines which are a little bit younger would be called Langhe Rosso or possibly Nebbiolo d'Alba. But you're still looking at 25 quid for a good one. Decent Barolo starts at 50. It deserves a chalice. Right. I'm not hyping this up too much, am I? I think I am, possibly. Xinomavro Jeune Vigne, young vine, Xinomavro, from the genius Thymiopoulos. Thymiopoulos is this amazing, amazing producer of wine. This was bought by me from the Wine Society for a pittance, for $10.99. There's a one that they sell for about 25 quid that should be 30 quid, probably is elsewhere. But Apostolos Thymiopoulos is one of the most amazing producers of wine. So let's have a try of this. This is made from the great variety I sort of mentioned at the beginning. Northern Gris. Along the top here, it's a great variety called Xinomavro, black and bitter. And it looks, although a bit darker in tone, it looks like Nebbiolo. It's never that dark to look through. It's not dark, because the grapes are quite big and thin-skinned. So there is a similarity in colour to Nebbiolo, because Nebbiolo is similarly shaped. Have a sniff. It's a dead ringer for good Langhe Rosso from a top producer, or a good Nebbiolo d'Alba from someone like Fontana. I mean, you're talking a £25, £30 wine in its own right. This is $10.99, ladies and gentlemen, from the Wine Society. I know I keep on banging on about them, but if you're not getting the message, it's your problem, not mine. This wine smells of crushed currants, baked berries, elderberry. There's a kind of a deep, slightly tarry back note. Oh, God, there's so much going on. I opened this. Obviously, these wines were given to me to try. I opened this and spent my own money. Because what's the point of going and buying a premium Moussaka from Marks and Spencer's when there's no red to drink, right? So I've opened this for Emma, who's out at the moment, but that's what we're going to have for dinner in a minute. Because once you start drinking Greek wines, your brain goes to overdrive. We've got Dolmades, you know, those little stuffed vine leaves. We've got all sorts of crap going on. We're snowed under with Tara Masalata at the moment in the fridge. So we're going to have a bit of a Greek one tonight. This wine, what a way to finish. Almost certainly the cheapest wine in the lineup, by the way. But absolutely stonking and phenomenal. Thank you so much, Irina Nemeth and Cava Spiliadis, for sending me these really, really interesting and really special wines. Okay, just to cover the area again, so that we remember what to cover next time. We've got Robola from Kefalonia. We've got Moschfilero from Antonea. We've got Assyrtiko from Santorini. So far, so good. Then we've got Vidiano, a Cretan variety, but grown in the main body of Greece. And we've also got Xinomavro. Wow. That's quite an emotional roller coaster, I've got to tell you. And all the wines are superb, world class. Try them. Look down there.